Okay, this is the epitome of console stereo cheapness. I picked this up at one of the resale shops. Actually, I traded the owner an old lower-end Kenwood stereo receiver for this thing that I basically had no money in. I think he was ready to get this thing out of his way. But anyway, this is a Philharmonic console stereo from around 1962. This is a tube-type unit. And what's odd is this only has an AM radio. Now, I've seen phono-only consoles from this time period, and I've seen cheap AM/FM consoles from the 60s, but I don't recall ever seeing an AM-only version. The cabinet's not in too good a shape. I think actually this thing is made out of particle board with some kind of heavy-duty contact paper covering over it, and for some reason somebody removed the device that holds the lid up, but I think we can replace that. And probably the best part about this unit is the Voice of Music record changer. There's our control panel. We have controls for balance, tone, function, stereo, mono, and radio, volume, and tuning. Philharmonic stereophonic high fidelity. Let's take a look at the inside. Here's the chassis, not much to it, just a series string job. There are puny little AC/DC table radio style output transformers. And our speakers, probably about 6-inch speakers. That's our mixer tube, IF tube, preamp tube. Right channel output and left channel output. The rectifier is likely either a selenium rectifier or solid state. And this thing may also have solid state detector diodes in it too. I don't know that yet. Okay, the tube types used are 12BE6, 12BA6, 12AX7, and 35EH5 times 2. 3 of the tubes are branded Philharmonic. These 2 tubes are branded ITT. Now let's give this thing a test run and see what happens. Okay, here's the radio portion. Although not up to snuff, it is passing a signal though.
What were some of the things that you have learned about?
That's the volume wide open.
Kitchen that you maybe didn't realize.
We'll take a small vacation, but it won't be that long. KTLK? All right. Me, Rush.
People in Meridian, and or homeless people.
That's 1290 coming in so weak you can't hardly hear it. It should be booming in.
That's why First State Bank offers products and services to fit your busy life. With mobile banking, you can bank right from your mobile device.
And you can hear that background squealing.
It's a convenient way to manage your First State Bank accounts. Go to www.firststatebnk.com.
Okay, let's try the phonograph.
Mobile banking. First State Bank.
And that's very distorted. Looks like it could be a defect with the amplifier or a bad cartridge. But first, let's get the amplifier and radio working as it should. So in order to do that, we'll have to pull everything apart. And here's the chassis, and this thing's so cheap that it didn't even have quick connect terminals on the speakers, so I did a slight no-no and just cut the speaker wires. I'll just splice them back when it's time to put everything back together. And this was an antenna lead that solders onto this ferrite bar antenna, and this lead was running around the inside of the cabinet give the unit a little bit better sensitivity. So now we'll open this up and see what we've got under the chassis. Here's the underside of the chassis, and as you can see, we have a mix of paper capacitors and disc caps. Here's a capacitor here that's blown apart. I believe this is the cathode bypass cap for the output tubes. And here's our rectifier, which is kind of a strange looking device. It was made by Siemens in Germany. I believe I'm reading that correctly, best I can tell. And judging by the way it's testing with the ohm meter, I'm going to say it's a selenium rectifier. It'll probably eventually be replaced. Okay, the first order of business is going to be to clean all of these controls and then replace this busted capacitor here. And here's our blown apart capacitor, a Callens brand electrolytic capacitor. 150 microfarad, 15 volts, date code 29th week of 62. I don't have any 150 microfarad caps, but I have 100s and I have 220s. Given the situation, I think we'll go with a 220. It can't hurt. Okay, after replacing the cathode bypass cap, our performance is still crappy. Here's these output tubes. One of them maybe that's just a dirty socket. Okay. Okay, we still have low volume and all of this squealing. So now I'm going to do what any good technician does. Check your power supply voltages. Make sure those are up to snuff. That selenium rectifier could be weak. Okay, checking the output of the selenium rectifier. Under load we have about 116 volts, so that's probably about what it should be. So our selenium rectifier is probably okay. Okay, I've discovered something. Checking the B+ voltage on the IF transformer where it enters into the IF transformer. See, when I touch my meter probe there, it changes the effect on what's going on. And now when I touch my positive meter probe to the B+ input, we have somewhat acceptable performance. Somewhat acceptable, not great performance. Okay, we're checking this 0.05 microfarad cap, which I believe is in the AVC circuit. It appears to be a little bit leaky. Notice the light flashing there. So I think just for the heck of it, we're going to replace that cap and see if our condition improves any. Okay, I just found something interesting. Pulled out the trusty old oscilloscope again, and I'm checking our power supply. Now this filter cap is going bad because I'm hearing some 60-cycle hum in the speakers.
And that's not one of the demands.
This is section number 1 of the filter cap, about 12 volts of ripple there. Section number 2, the blue lead of the filter capacitor. We've got some good bit of ripple there too. And now section number 3, the green lead of the filter capacitor. Look at all the garbage there. You can see there's audio riding on the B+. So something is going on here.
Wait just a second. I get it. Okay. Oh, we had
okay, I have another cap tacked in, and it looks like that might have helped the problem tremendously.
This is the best of Dave.
Hey, how you doing, Andy? Good.
Right, and Jay, the point of being
and there we are on the oscilloscope. All that noise is gone now.
Mandela was very clear what he stood for. Obama, from the best...
See you with ball possession, 27 of the shot.
Okay, the squealing has diminished greatly.
Inbound the ball to Anderson.
But our volume is wide open, and it's not nearly as loud as it should be.
Hands a lot, and he's done a good job.
Somebody who tries to stay up for whatever, or you keep somebody up. We've never dying
Drives into the lane, gives it a drive.
And as much as you've done it unto the least of one of these, you've done it unto me. You know, the kind of service that... Well, I'm doing a good deed now. Well, I'm giving to the poor now. Now I'm praying.
But now, whenever I check on
that's
the
all sham. That's
final
all hypocrisy.
capacitor,
You just live your life and let it...
I'm not getting all that garbage that I was getting before.
And you won't be keeping a record, but I'll guarantee you God keeps a record and not a cut.
Okay, all of our audio stage voltages check okay, and I've eliminated the audio section as the cause of the weak volume by simply switching it to phono and touching the input. It's got plenty enough gain in the audio section, so our low volume problem is due to something in the front end, either in the converter or the IF stage. It could be an alignment issue or weak tube or improper voltage or a combination of all of the above. Okay, tweaking the antenna trimmer on the tuning capacitor helped, as did connecting the set to the outside antenna. But this unit may not always be in a position to be connected to an external antenna, so we want to do what we can to get this thing to perform at its maximum capability.
Of a driver.
Okay, I'm now checking this 0.05 microfarad cap that was removed from the oscillator and mixer circuit. And as you can see, it's leaky as all get out. So yeah, that could be part of our problem. Okay, here's that capacitor replaced. And I think I spoke in error a little bit earlier whenever I said this particular cap was the AVC cap. The more I look at it, and I don't have a schematic to this by the way, but the more I look, I think this is the AVC return cap, and if it's bad, obviously it can affect the gain of the front end and the IF stages of the radio, so let's fire it up and see what kind of difference it makes. Okay, that helped some. And I think it also got rid of the last bit of oscillations that we were having.
Down below his waist.
Now I'm actually picking up out-of-town stations without the outside antenna connected.
But claimed by TCU into the lane for a drive by Anderson right down. Boy, nice finish in traffic.
We'll producer Miranda after this. I'm Andy Dean. We'll be right back.
Okay, we're about out of time for this video, but don't worry, there will be a part 2 very soon, and we'll take care of some last-minute details with this, and then it ought to be done. Okay, thanks for watching, and more to come later.